This is gonna be the most unique opinion you've ever heard. I like Mr. Peanut Butter.
Doggy what now?
Okay, maybe it's not the most unique, but I was very surprised to see Reddit posts like this. The first thing I thought was,
unprecedented poppycock. This poppycock has no precedent.
But then I read those posts, and I began to wonder, are these people right? Is Mr. Peanut Butter secretly evil? So I started investigating. He can't be that bad. I mean, everybody likes Mr. Peanut. Hold on, wait. Except for all the people who actually know him. The people closest to Mr. Peanut Butter don't seem to like him that much. Bojack, Woodchuck, Pickles, Katrina, Jessica Biel, PC, Diane for the most part, and even Todd starts putting some distance between them. So I dug a little harder and rewatched a couple of episodes. I was rewatching the Halloween episode in season 5 featuring Mr. Peanut Butter and all his ex-wives, when an unsettling sensation struck me. I always hated Katrina, but in this Halloween flashback, she's so sweet that I actually found myself liking her against my will.
Groovy threads. But you just got drafted, hippie. Into the cutest husband army.
The Katrina in this episode is an entirely different person from the humorless, heartless Harridan that we have all come to know and hate.
I am so excited to go to a real Hollywood party with my husband, the TV star.
A few years later,
I don't watch TV.
that Halloween party was Katrina's villain origin story, and Jessica Biel's, and Diane's, and Pickles'? All of Mr. Peanut Butter's wags have a horrible time at this party, and they're never the same again.
Why do all these idealistic, vivacious women eventually turn bitter and cruel after being with me? What's the common denominator?
Yeah, it's a huge mystery. To solve it, I began looking in the most obvious place. His friends. Whoops, he doesn't have any. Mr. Peanut Butter has a lot of casual friendships, but nothing serious. He tries to make everybody his friend, but the people who take him up on this offer eventually push him away. Princess Carolyn, Todd, and Diane like him enough to keep him around, but they're all arm's-length relationships. And the less said about Bojack, the better. Mr. Peanut Butter spends the better part of 30 years sucking up to Bojack, and Bojack still hates him.
He's so stupid he doesn't realize how miserable he should be.
I always assumed it's because Bojack is a jealous jerk, but when you look at other people in Mr. Peanut Butter's orbit, you begin to wonder if a jealous jerk can be right twice a day. So I began looking even harder at Mr. Peanut Butter's friends and family. What do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out.
You people are all right. Who wants an autograph?
And how are you?
Well, it's been really hard.
Erica! Is that you?
That's Mr. Peanut Butter trying to connect to a friend.
Hey, don't go anywhere, okay? I want to talk to you.
Oh. How is he?
Erica!
That's him trying to connect to his ex-wife. Then there's this. He tries to motivate a friend to go into business with him.
We're in this together now, Todd, and nothing will distract me from Erica! You can't be here! This place is filled with children!
The Erica gag is hilarious. It gets me every time. But then the haters made me see the other side. The side of all the people that Mr. Peanut Butter abandons in the middle of a conversation to run off and talk with Erica.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I just got distracted by the fun party. But I will not leave your side again. Oh my god, is that Erica?
No, please don't go talk to Erica.
Mr. Peanut Butter does this all the time, and he does this to everybody, and now I'm starting to feel sorry for all those folks. God, I hate empathy. We never meet Erica and we never see her, but every time a conversation gets too serious or intimate or begins to acquire any form of depth, she shows up and Mr. Peanut Butter runs to her. I'm beginning to think the writers are trying to tell us something. But this is not the only thing. They tell us other things. This is Mr. Peanut Butter talking to Bojack.
Seriously, though.
How are you?
Well, I've been kind of up.
Living the dream, huh? Yeah.
Hey, we'll catch up later, right? I want to talk to you.
This is him getting trashed by Diane in an argument.
He's dead! I told you he's dead! Why don't you ever listen to me? He is dead, goddammit!
This is Mr. Peanut Butter responding to Diane after she suggests he talk to his obviously depressed brother.
We don't really have the kind of relationship where we talk about things. Labs prefer to keep things playful.
So, Mr. Peanut Butter doesn't have the kind of relationship where he talks about things with his literal brother? They were born 5 minutes apart and grew up together, but they're somehow still not close enough for the real stuff? Mr. Peanut Butter is actually not that close with anyone. He never talks about things with anyone. It doesn't matter if it's his friends or family or wives. As soon as things threaten to get real, he dips out. It's almost like the writers are calling him shallow. Mr. Surface Level. Is this why everyone eventually pushes Mr. Peanut Butter away? Because he's all surface level stuff and nothing else? Probably, yeah. He is shallow and selfish and scared of true intimacy. That is bad, but what if it's not his fault? There is always someone else to blame, am I right? Blame his family, blame his environment, blame everybody. Just don't blame Mr. Peanut Butter. He's not evil. He is just a poor victim of circumstance. I know what the haters are gonna ask. Really? Is he though? Mr. Peanut Butter is a yellow lab from the Labrador Peninsula. It's actually a real place. It's located here in the English-speaking part of the French-speaking part of upstate New York. Nothing bad ever happens in the Labrador Peninsula. That's a very common saying in that place, and Mr. Peanut Butter believes it with his whole heart. He is a 50-something-year-old who has been married and divorced 3 times, but he still believes his mom lives on a farm because nothing bad ever happens in the Labrador Peninsula.
When my mom got old, she moved to a farm.
What?
Out in the country, where she could have plenty of room to run free.
Why would she want to run around if she's old?
Bojack, the know-it-all, just has to point out the ridiculousness of the whole thing and bring Mr. Peanut Butter's world tumbling down.
She's at a farm after a prolonged bout of Parkinson's. A farm where they don't have telephones or the internet, and oh my God, she's dead. My mom is dead.
Part of this is clearly an IQ issue, but Mr. Peanut Butter's upbringing deserves a lot of blame. It insulated him from the harsher realities of life, and he just never figured it out. It's a family problem. His own brother, Captain Peanut Butter, keeps his health issues to himself because Labrador culture is structured to ignore the ugly parts of life. But that is just one theory here. The haters have a second theory. It's very harsh, and it asks some very uncomfortable questions. What if Mr. Peanut Butter is not as clueless as he appears? What if he knows exactly what's going on and chooses to ignore it? What if he's shallow on purpose because he's too selfish to even consider anybody else's negative emotion? What if that's the real reason why he bails out on every conversation as soon as it threatens to get real? There's a lot of evidence that can be used to prop up this theory. Evidence like this.
The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. The key to being happy isn't to search for meaning, it's to just keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense, and eventually you'll be dead.
Hearing Mr. Peanut Butter say that, after reading all the theories and criticisms, hits different. It makes you truly wonder, is he just a dumb doggo who's unlucky enough to get distracted by everything? Or is he a smiling psychopath who constantly pursues distractions to avoid dealing with anything uncomfortable?
Ugh, why do you say yes to everything?
I just get excited by the possibilities.
You can use any number of clips to make a case for either side.
Fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice, fiddle-dee-dee.
Maybe he is that dumb, or maybe he is even dumber.
I believe it was Benjamin Franklin who said, "You have reached the end of your free trial membership at BenjaminFranklinQuotes.com."
Or maybe he's an evil genius who has conned everyone into thinking he is dumb so he can get away with the shady stuff.
Always a Clydesdale, never a Clyde, eh, Bojack?
I never got this line. I thought it was just another dumb Mr. Peanut Butter joke. Then I googled it, and I discovered I was the dumb one. Mr. Peanut Butter knows Bojack has the hots for Diane, and he just tells Bojack that he'll never get her in the most layered way possible. The saying rephrases, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Then it plays on the love story of Bonnie and Clyde. Bojack will never be Clyde, and a Clydesdale is a breed of horse. It's actually Bojack's exact breed. Ouch. But one sick burn doesn't turn Mr. Peanut Butter into an evil genius, does it? Well, there is more. Mr. Peanut Butter stole Bojack's D and gave it to Diane.
I stole the D, and then he stole my stealing of it. That makes him an idea thief.
Bojack stole the D from the Hollywood sign for Diane while drunk. He chickens out of giving it to her and starts looking for a way to get rid of it because he thinks he's gonna get arrested and go to jail. But Mr. Peanut Butter correctly predicts the public reaction to an act like this and steals the credit for stealing the sign from Bojack.
Mr. Peanut Butter has confessed to stealing the D for his girlfriend Diane in what many are calling the most romantic gesture in the history of romance and gestures.
Mr. Peanut Butter becomes a romantic legend who transforms Hollywood into Hollywoo.
The day they make love a crime is the day I turn in my badge.
Bojack, despite all of his alleged brain power, only realizes realizes Mr. Peanut Butter's master plan after the fact.
I was double-crossed by the one man I assumed was too stupid to even single-cross.
I don't believe this is evil. Bojack was too chicken to admit his feelings, and he was trying to steal Mr. Peanut Butter's girl anyway. In my book, stealing from thieves is not a crime, but there are other pointers to Mr. Peanut Butter's alleged evil nature that I really don't have strong counters to. He threw an engagement party where the fireworks crashed the helicopter carrying the D back to the Hollywood sign. The falling helicopter brought down the wall of a supermax. The pilot dies, dozens of hardcore criminals are let loose on the streets, and Mr. Peanut Butter never thinks about it again. There was also his Halloween store.
What happened to your Halloween store?
And what now?
Mr. Peanut Butter ripped out the floor and then completely forgot about the store because he was chasing the next shiny object. But people can still see the sign.
An All Hallows Eve store? In January? How fiendishly droll.
Ah!
Oh, bother.
The clumsy bastard broke every bone in his body.
I want to insist that he's just forgetful because he's kind of dumb, and that doesn't make him evil, but the third incident makes me wonder if I'm wrong. Yep, I'm gonna talk about the sad dog incident. I've got no excuse for that one. Mr. Peanut Butter was openly and unambiguously shady.
I think he's a really sad dog, you guys.
Mr. Peanut Butter has just cheated on his girlfriend, and everybody hates him. Princess Caroline decides to rehab his image by pushing him in front of a slow-moving car. The risk is minimal, but it's the thought that counts. Mr. Peanut Butter just goes along with it when Princess Caroline claims he jumped because he was depressed.
I saw the whole thing. Mr. Peanut Butter said, "I'm a sad dog," and jumped right in front of the car.
Suddenly, everybody feels sorry for him. They're all liking him again, and he becomes the national face of depression. I never believed Mr. Peanut Butter was perfect, but I'm not willing to accept that he's evil incarnate. Sad dog incident and all the other actions expose to be Mr. Peanut Butter's underlying morality. We all have different things that we value. The things that we value the most can radically change how we act. Religious fanatics might reject modern medicine, reject technology, or even blow themselves up because they value going to heaven above everything else, right? People who are not super religious tend to make sacrifices as well, but it's for more earthly pursuits. The environmentalists glue themselves to roads, the egalitarians complain about any form of inequality, and the hedonists do whatever is pleasurable in the moment, even if it destroys them later. We all have something that we value above everything else. It may not be 72 virgins or equality or the environment or pleasure, but it's something. And just like the rest of us, Mr. Peanut Butter has that one thing he values more than anything else.
All I ever wanted was to be your friend, and you treat me like a big joke. You think I don't notice? Why don't you like me?
Above all else, Mr. Peanut Butter wants to be liked. I have to admit, I find this relentless pursuit of popularity to be kind of pathetic because, well, I value a different set of things. But when the alternative is accepting a premise that one of my favorite characters is evil, well, I don't think I have much of a choice.
If you care about what other people think, then you're never gonna do anything.
This sounds wise, doesn't it? Diane agrees, and this is when we see what Mr. Peanut Butter truly believes.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you agree. But then you were like, that's right. And I was like, whoo, validation.
That's all he wants. Validation. From everybody. Even behaviors that might have initially looked thoughtless, like bailing out of conversations with friends or constantly ignoring his wives, start to make sense when you approach them as Mr. Peanut Butter would. How do I maximize the number of people who like me? Spending quality time with his wives or his friends might strengthen those relationships, but it does not increase the friend count. That is what he values more. Mr. Peanut Butter would rather ignore a wife or a friend if it means he could use the time to talk to 100 new people.
You left me alone all night long. I asked so little of you, and you never listen.
This is a consistent complaint. He fights with Katrina over this, he fights with Jessica Biel over this, and he fights with Diane over this too. Instead of listening to his wives and giving them what they really want, he ignores them and uses big romantic gestures to bring more attention to himself. This scene is a perfect example. Mr. Peanut Butter has just announced to the world that he stole the D for Diane. Diane leaves the house because she doesn't like the cameras or the attention. She feels it's a little much, but Mr. Peanut Butter lures her back.
Diane, I've got an important question to ask. Will you do me the honor of becoming Mrs. peanut butter.
A few moments later,
You hear that? She said yes!
cue music, balloons, and all the people in paparazzi who were hiding around the house the whole time. Diane thought she was having a private conversation, but she wasn't. Mr. Peanut Butter can't live without spectacle. He wants everybody to like him, and if it means lying to Diane, ignoring her wishes, and using her as an accessory to bring attention to himself, and hopefully increasing his own likability, he will. It's pathetic and cringe and selfish, but it falls short of the threshold for actual evil, in my opinion. Mr. Peanut Butter's desire to be liked doesn't just hurt the people around him, it hurts him too. He's incredibly lonely. All his wives leave him, and he doesn't have any real friends because all his friendships are shallow. We catch a glimpse of just how lonely he is during the opening montage of Season 2 finale. Mr. Peanut Butter is his happy self for the whole day. He smiles at everyone and is generally fun to be around. But then, evening comes, and he climbs onto his roof all alone. The smile fades from his face, and he sighs with exhaustion. He's obviously broken inside. He just puts on a happy face for everybody else. But when he's all alone, the misery comes out in full force. And despite never listening to his wives, he still places a lot of pressure on them because these are the relationships he has that have any depth to them. He goes from ignoring them in public to being pathetically codependent in private.
I mostly just sit right there, and when I hear your car in the driveway, it is the best part of my day.
Do I still like Mr. Peanut Butter? Yep. I like him, but I like him significantly less than I did before. But somehow, I still do. So, I looked into it. Why do I still like this objectively pathetic and probably terrible person? The answer is pickles. And I'm not alone. People like Mr. Peanut Butter but hate pickles. Yet, they're exactly the same character. Dumb, shallow, self-absorbed attention seekers. What gives? After examining my twisted little heart, I've discovered exactly why I hate pickles. I'm not proud to admit it, but I hate pickles because I hate pugs. They're crimes against God. Disgusting, slobbering, inbred abominations. Every time Pickles comes on screen, I'm like, yuck! I think the writers did that on purpose, though. Pickles could have been the sweetest person, and most of us would probably still hate her because pugs are ugly and gross and shouldn't exist. Fight me. Mr. Peanut Butter, on the other hand, is a cute and adorable lab. We like him from the get-go. This is the halo effect, aka pretty privilege. We tend to attribute good qualities to good-looking people and bad qualities to ugly people. We're also more likely to excuse bad behavior if it comes from a good-looking person. This is not new. Nietzsche was talking about it in the 1800s. This is a direct quote from him. If you crush a cockroach, you're a hero. If you crush a beautiful butterfly, you're a villain. Morality has an aesthetic component. Something as simple as a wink from a stranger can either be cute or flirty or gross and creepy. It all depends on whether the stranger is attractive or ugly. Those are the aesthetics of morality. The rules are different for attractive people. Mr. Peanut Butter has been benefiting from these different rules created by the halo effect of his adorableness for his entire life.
Let me put it in terms, all your life, people have been throwing you bones because they like you.
Mr. Peanut Butter wandered onto a set and instantly got cast as a lead in a TV show on his very first day in LA. He didn't have to work as a waiter for 10 years to pay for his acting classes, stalk casting directors, or blow Harvey Weinstein like everybody else in Hollywood. He just stepped off a plane and got the gig without even asking for it.
Me? A star? But I have no experience.
You don't need any of those things. You got it.
The it is, of course, the halo effect and all the privilege that surrounds it. Mr. Peanut Butter was born adorable, and as long as he remains adorable, he can get away with anything. He can refuse to grow up. He can ignore the ugly side of life. He can be an annoying attention seeker and bad friend. And he can date girls 30 years younger than him. No matter what, he's still gonna come out looking like the good guy. Todd's stepfather delivered this gem to him, but it can easily apply to Mr. Peanut Butter.
Nothing came easy for me. It took hard work, but I should have realized. You're white.
White privilege may not be what it used to be anymore, but pretty privilege and adorable privilege are not going anywhere anytime soon. And while a lot of people are blind to their own privilege, Mr. Peanut Butter is not. He knows. But to his credit, Mr. Peanut Butter has changed. His relationship with Pickles forces him to confront his own faults. He grows and he matures. Instead of jumping into a new relationship after breaking up like he usually does, he takes time off to re-examine his approach to life. It works. He becomes very self-aware, and I love it.
Because yes, women are involved, but it's never really about the women. It's about me.